Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Ali, and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 common mistakes that can happen while being in a recording studio. So, first of all, I do want to apologize. I've been wanting to produce music and put it out for you, but within the last 3 days, I've gotten a really bad ear infection and I can't really hear out of my right ear. So, I didn't want to produce something that was mediocre, and I wanted to be able to hear it in its full capacity. So, that is why I am giving you some helpful tips today, but hopefully you enjoy it just as much, if not more. If you do not know, I am a recording technician at NYU. Over the past couple weeks, I started the new job and I've been seeing a lot of things that have gone wrong, and I've been learning how to fix those things. So I wanted to share with you those things so that way maybe you can avoid them altogether and everything just runs as smoothly as possible. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 mistakes that I think happen most often. Number 1. Not knowing the equipment that you're working with. This is very crucial. Especially if you're going into a studio that you've never been before even having a recording session, I would say learn the equipment inside and out. Know the routing of the board, know the DAW. Sometimes you can't just go into a studio and load Logic or Ableton. Most of the time, the industry standard is Pro Tools. So you have to make sure that if you are going to use Logic or Ableton, that studio is capable in recording in those softwares, because a lot of times when the engineers set up the routing system, it is made for Pro Tools. So that is number 1, knowing the equipment, making sure everything is running, and that the routing is correct. So therefore, if you're recording 24 channels at a time, which I don't think anyone does unless you got 3 drum sets going at the same time. If you are recording a lot of things at the same time, make sure that the routing is correct and that you're getting a good signal from each channel. Number 2, gain. Okay, gain is huge. Making sure that your mics are not too hot or not too low. You do not want peaks in your recording at all, or else it'll cause distortion, and that's just so hard to deal with altogether. So you want to make sure that when you are getting a signal that you find that sweet spot to where you have enough headroom and that you have enough distance from the noise floor. Now, the noise floor is the amount of noise in the room when nothing is happening at all. So you want to make sure that it is right in between there. And if the singer or the instrumentalist does go above that sweet spot, you have enough room so it's not peaking. That is one thing that you want to do before you start recording, is setting your levels and making sure everything is running smoothly. And one of the things that I highly recommend is if you have a singer, singers can sometimes be hard to gauge, because when you're doing a mic test at the beginning of the session, they may start belting or singing extremely loud when they get into it during the recording session. So you want to make sure you have a little bit of extra room when you are working with singers, but not turning it down so low. You just gotta find the sweet spot. Bit depth / sample rate. So in your DAW of choice, you want to make sure that your bit depth is at the lowest it can possibly be, because the bit depth is going to cause a lot of latency if it is at a higher setting. This is just because the computer is essentially taking in more bits of the sound file at a time. So that is very standard way of putting it. It is way more complicated than that. But basically, bit depth you want to be lower. When we get into latency, you want to make sure that there is no latency, especially if you're recording a singer and they want to let themselves in the headphones, you got to make sure that they can hear themselves, and when they're speaking into the microphone, that is the correct time coming into their ears. It's not delayed in their ears, because if it is delayed in their ears, that causes a whole lot of other issues. And the last thing I want to talk about is microphone placement. Okay, not really technical, but you want to make sure that the microphone can pick up whatever it is you're trying to record. If you're recording a drum set, you want to make sure that it is picking up all the harmonics of whatever drum you're recording. And it is also picking up all the harmonics of the cymbals you're recording, and you want to make sure that it is placed to where you can hear exactly what you want to hear. It's extremely important to make sure that you have a sound check to make sure everything is getting recorded properly. Because the last thing you want is to finish the recording session, listen back to the session, and you are just completely appalled with the way that the bass drum sounds just due to the placement of the microphone, because that is incredibly hard to fix in post-production. So those are the 5 main mistakes that I see while working in a recording studio, and hopefully this will allow you to think about what you need to do in order to properly be prepared for a recording session moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next Friday.